Hello everyone, this is James Shore with another test-driven development video. It is August 25th. I'm picking up where I left off in the last video. I've been struggling with swing and testing menu behavior, specifically in the area of closing windows. What I'm trying to do is write a test to assert that when I click New here, it creates a new window. And what I have so far is a test that checks to see that the number of windows increases by 1. I really wanted to start out and say there should be one window to start, and then we click the button and there's two, but I ran into this whole issue with application frame and that it's not being disposed properly. Now, I can add a teardown, and this is what I ran through in the last episode. I can add a teardown to close the window using frame, or calling the dispose method on the frame. But the problem is that that frame is not actually cleaned up. It isn't garbage collected until the garbage collector decides to do that. And of course, in Java, that's non-deterministic. You can ask the garbage collector to run a cycle, but that does not mean that the frame will actually be collected. So, and calling dispose was really slow. So I ended up just saying, well, it should increase by 1. Now, I did a little more research in between doing episodes, and I feel like I understand it pretty well now. If I set the frame to null and I dispose it, or if I just dispose it and then replace the reference with something else, it will eventually get garbage collected. However, I cannot predict when that will happen, so that could actually make this new solution fail if the garbage collection happens between getting the old number of frames and then creating the new frame. That could cause spurious failures. So I'm actually going to not clean up the frame. 1, it's slow, and 2, it could actually cause this test to fail non-deterministically, so randomly basically, and that would be worse than what I'm doing now, which is I'm leaving all these frames littering memory when I run tests. Unless I'm doing hundreds of frames, I don't think that's going to be an issue. It could be a real big problem down the road. Future me might start seeing all kinds of weird out of graphic resources or out of memory issues, and that would really suck. But I don't really know what to do about it. What I am going to do is document it in this way. I could tear down the frame, or dispose frame.dispose here, which would release the resources consumed by creating the frame. However, that could cause the test to fail if they are assuming a certain number of frames, because the number of frames decrements according to the whims of the garbage collector. As a result, also, disposing is very slow. So I've decided not to dispose of frames at this time. As a result, many frames are being created and then hanging around in memory, consuming resources. This could cause out-of-memory problems, memory errors, or some other problems in the future. So good luck to future me. So yeah, I've documented it, but the challenge with stuff like this is that when this problem actually happens, I'm not going to be necessarily thinking about application frames. So I'm not going to see this comment. And I was thinking about it. Where could I put this comment where I might see it in the future? I could put it in Scratchpad and say, pitfalls or gotchas or something like that. Maybe I'll just put a keyword on this. Problem is remembering that I've got a keyword on it. Potential gotcha. So that's, you know, I've done my best. And again, by the, you know, maybe somebody who knows Swing better than me will look at this and say that I'm doing something dumb, in which case I welcome that feedback. But this is the best I think I can do on this right now. I think the actual likelihood of this gotcha coming up is pretty small. Modern computers have lots of graphic resources. They've got lots of memory. And I'm only creating one per method. I don't think I'm going to be creating a lot of frames. And I do not believe this issue comes up for non-frame resources. Like in my other tests where I'm creating a panel or something like that, I think those get garbage collected normally. They don't hang around. So, you know, cross my fingers, hope this works. All right, so that's a kind of long recap, but last episode was a long, difficult episode, so I wanted to sort of bring it all together. So what I need to do now is actually do the click and write the code to make the new window. I'm going to pause the video to figure out how to do that click. We'll be back in a moment. Okay, I'm back. It looks like there's a really straightforward method, do click, on the menu item, so I should be able to just do that. I'm going to hack a little bit here and just grab this code, bring it down here, and then make a note to clean up duplication with, should have menu. And then let's see, I need to get rid of all the tests. I just want access to the menu item. Okay, there we go. So now I should be able to say new menu item dot do click. Waiting for Swing or Eclipse to catch up with me. Swing really nukes Eclipse. At least it's IntelliSense style stuff. Okay, that should still fail in the same way because I'm not actually doing anything on the click. But now, finally now, I should be able to say new menu item dot, let's see, how do I do that? Add action listener. I'm just going to do this. So new menu item dot add action listener, do something. That's the code that actually makes it go. And here I want to say, I think I just want to say new application frame. And I don't think I have to do anything more than that. How do I get this thing going here? Oh, and I want to give it a new application. Well, I want to do this. So looks like I might want to factor that common code out too. I think that's it. Let's see. Oh, except the set visible. I haven't tested that yet. So let's assert that it's visible next. This should work. Fingers crossed. Oh, yeah, it works. Okay, I'm not going to do a manual test yet because it's not visible. What I want to say is that the new window should be visible. Which means that frame.getFrames, let's see, let's pull this out. We'll call that all frames. All frames, oh, look at that. Well, no, that we're going to leave there. Interesting. We're going to want all frames there. all frames here, but this is actually going to be the old value. So all frames, basically we want the last one. Is there a way of getting the last one out of a... No way to conveniently get the last one out of an array. Something that Ruby, for example, does really well. They've got all these great built-in methods. That will give us the last one. And then we want to ask if it is visible. And the answer to that question is, well, I expect it to be false. Yeah, it's false right now, saying the new window should be visible, but now I will just say set visible. It's true. And passes. Fantastic. So now, fingers crossed, this should actually create new windows when I press the new button. And it doesn't. It doesn't do anything. Oh, there it goes. Well, that's interesting. Oh, I put the wrong accelerator on it. I put Apple F instead of Apple N. That's a really good example of the code. That's a great example of how unit tests cannot force you to create the right requirements. They can only help you write the code you intended to write. I very deliberately intended to put virtual key F here, but it should have been virtual key N. I just made a mistake on that, and that mistake propagated. The tests all pass. It's well tested. It's perfect, except I had the requirement wrong in my head. Great example of that. And that was interesting. It actually pops up, of course, because I'm setting it to visible. Interesting. All right. Well, that's kind of unfortunate because that's going to slow things down. But, c'est la vie. Doesn't pop up every time. Huh. Well, there we go. So that's working. Now we've got some notes. I'm going to start by I think, pulling out this code here. I'm going to make a static method, just a convenience method, to create the window and make it visible. And I am going to test that. So the code is exactly the same. Almost exactly the same. So let's grab that. Let's call it new window. I don't think we need the throws throwable anymore. So that's the old value. We're not clicking the menu directly. We are just going to say application frame dot new window. And then we're going to create that method, right? I like my statics to be at the top, so I'm going to put it up here before the constructor. And that should fail. Yep, fails. And then I'll make it pass by moving this code, copying this code for now, to here. That should pass. Does. I want to confirm that, yeah, yep, that's good. And then I'm going to have this just call new window. That cleans that up nicely. And application. Don't have a tester on this, I don't believe. Actually, there might be. Do we have an application test class? No, we don't. We could, but this code is so simple I don't feel like it's super necessary. That does mean it has to be manually tested, which I'm going to do right now. But anytime we manually test anything, it's testing that code, so we're good. So there we go. Oh, and there's our keystroke. That's great. Okay. So that's all the time we have for this episode. Thanks very much for watching. I will catch you next time.